I will talk a little bit of my story, and I will bring in some Chinese medicine terms so that you understand how I see healing and how we incorporate the 5 elements in what we do. So I was the first of 6 kids, and only the fifth one was a boy. So as you can understand, I had to take the position of the first son. And that worked fine in my life for some years. My dad, who passed away just 2 weeks ago, so I want to devote that to him, had both high expectations of me, but he was also very proud of me. I was a top student, completing 2 bachelors, economics and sociology in 5 years, and then going on to do my master's in London School of Economics, where he had also studied. I was a devoted athlete, and I was working in a top bank as a chief dealer, head of trading, a very competitive position at a very young age in a very masculine environment. So to use a little bit of Chinese terminology, Chinese medicine terminology, I had fully embraced and cultivated my yang side. But what about my yin side? Where was my other side in this glamorous journey? I was only 29 years old, happily married, when everything suddenly crashed. I was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and I was given a very poor diagnosis of 20-25% survival rate. And then a pivotal moment, like we heard so many in this day, in my life came. Instead of feeling angry or feeling the injustice that I could face death so early on in my life, I felt grateful for my life till then. I accepted the possibility that I could die, but I wanted so much to live. This attitude was not only important for surviving cancer, but I believe it taught me a life lesson that is still within me and is my way of coping with the reality and life in general. When we are faced with a difficult, very unpleasant situation, and I'm not talking about daily life difficulties, there is no point of wasting time and energy to revolt against the pain we're suffering. But we have to find a way to be in touch with our inner strength and find the faith to accept there is a higher reason for what we are facing, that there is a potential life lesson to be learned, even if that moment we cannot even imagine what that lesson is, but we can merely open up to the possibility. In ancient Greek and Chinese medicine, this is the lesson of the metal, or ether, this alchemical process that helps us open to divine providence and to a higher spiritual understanding. Bringing in gratitude also helps us keep our heart open, and we allow our fire to warm us so that the fear that comes from the water doesn't freeze us up, and the kidneys can play their vital role in the healing. It is equally important to use our free will to clearly state our intention. This is the earth element power. And I felt I was willing to do anything in my power to overcome cancer. When I was given a choice, I decided to go for an experimental, very toxic chemotherapy, hoping for a better chance. And we moved to New York together with my husband and my mama. It was a very difficult, but both beautiful time. All my family rallied around me, expressing their deep love, and that was a healing in its own right. But I also finally had the space to be weak and fragile and needy. And I had to delve deep inside me to reach my yin strength, to discover the healer inside of me, as I started visualizing whenever I vomited from the chemo that all the bad cancer cells would leave my body and light would fill up the tumor. Chemo worked. The tumor was eliminated, and I went back to Greece. During the time of chemo, I thought I would not like to work as hard and as competitive as I used to work. But What I felt inclined to do when I started to feel my body operational again was a surprise to everyone around me, even myself. Together with two friends, we started a small investment and brokerage firm. Telesis, our firm, turned to be the success stories of the 90s in Greece and became a fully fledged, publicly listed investment bank. Riding the wave of success, I was voted Business Person of the Year in 2000 as the only women major stakeholder and CEO of a bank. And now you may ask, what happened here? Did I go back to my old pre-cancer, competitive, fast-paced young self? In some ways, yes, but healing and transformation had already started. In hindsight, now I totally understand my then intuitive choice. Again, in Chinese medicine terms, I chose to cultivate my wood and live in the here and now of fire. It would be very difficult to overcome the hardship of bi-monthly checkups and the constant agony that if the cancer would come back there was not too much that I could do if I didn't make sure that my life was full, passionate, meaningful, active. But although it appeared I was living yet again in a man's world, it was my new discovered yin resilience that was now the pilot of my life. And there was this constant question that I was trying to answer. Why my life was spared against all odds, but most importantly, what I was here for. I knew it wasn't merely banking, although our bank really was my first attempt on conscious capitalism. We took our clients' interests at heart, we gave every year more than 10% of our profit, and most importantly, we distributed profits together with shares to our employees. Still, banking felt like an interim playtime for me. I thought that maybe I would like to help children with cancer, but I found out I didn't have the courage to do so. Cancer was still too close to call it quits. But at that time, I learned how to better take care of my body. I started to do regular detoxes in order to clean up my body from harmful toxins. I started being interested in alternative and energy therapies, worked out and started doing some form of yoga. By 1999, I was again becoming too stressed and overworked and decided to go to a fortnight stay at Golden Door, where I met Sarah's mother, Deborah Sketzley. That was finally the aha moment that I was waiting. Whatever I went through started making sense and clicked together. And now I had my new intention. I was going to open a healing place in my birthplace in Greece, where I could live a healthy life, but most importantly, I would be able to share my journey with other people and connect with similar-minded people. 2 years after I set my clear intention of opening a healing place, we were able to sold our bank. And when in tears, I announced the sale to our employees, I clearly knew that this phase of my life was over, and I was entering into yet uncharted territories. I knew that even if I already had a vision, I wasn't ready for it. I needed to better balance myself, and I needed knowledge. I clearly did not want to do it as another business venture. I felt that somehow I wanted to be worthy of it. And that meant that I had to be a student again, both of life and an actual one. So for the next few years, I would travel the world, sourcing for authentic knowledge, looking to find a guru that magically would heal me and open the path to enlightenment, until I realized that our only true guru and healing comes from our continuous commitment to be the best we can at any given moment. I approached this new fascinating world with the zest of a 20-year-old novice, although I was approaching my 40s and well accomplished. But that taught me humility and respect for other choices in life. Many times people would snob me because I was an ex-banker and I had money. but I embraced it and tried to open up my perspective. However, it was a painful realization that even in the healing world, egos rule and illusions dominate. I was mostly attracted to various self-actualization practices, to energy medicine and Taoism and Chinese medicine, especially the esoteric teachings that cultivate our spiritual body and open a different path of self-awareness. So 12 years ago, when I met spiritual healer and psychic Mary Van Doru, whom I consider both my teacher and my best friend, we started studying together. And interestingly enough, with her help, we were able to download teaching from Ascended Masters. All this knowledge and our commitment to personal development became the ground of our workshops and retreats. And when I started researching ancient Greek scriptures and philosophers and integrating these in our teachings, Euphoria methods, what we now call Euphoria methods, emerged. It is this special ancient Greeks' deep love, admiration, and respect for life that I also shared, and it was a pilot in my life that navigated me through the hardships. This eros for life, this passion for life, coupled with the freedom, but also the responsibility to choose our own path in life, inspired not only the creation of Euphoria Retreat, but also of our unique approach to healing. Now, as I stand before you, a little bit emotional, 20 years after, my dream, my vision, has become a blossoming reality with a beautiful, meaningful name, Euphoria Retreat. I feel again so immensely grateful for life that has given me this opportunity to be healthy, to be here, to have created Euphoria, and finally finding a way to express both sides of my personality and journey, the entrepreneurial visionary one and the healer and spiritual devotee. And so my journey continues.